Spider-Man 3 is not a good movie. Except... I'm not gonna stand here and try to tell you that Spider-Man 3 is actually a good movie. It's not. I just think it's a shame when a movie gets really close to being good, but then just falls flat in a couple of areas. And because of that, the really good parts get ignored. The Spider-Man trilogy is full of really awesome moments, and the third one is no exception. But they often get overlooked because the movie is considered not so good. But the cast throughout the entire trilogy is some of the best casting I've ever seen. When I first saw Spider-Man, I didn't see J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I just saw J. Jonah Jameson. And I had the exact same reaction when I saw Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman. I don't even know how they were able to cast people so perfectly for comic book characters. And I know Topher Grace gets a lot of crap for not being a good Venom, but it wasn't him being a bad Eddie Brock, it was them just not knowing how to do Venom right. The action sequences were still great in this movie, and the CGI was also really good and honestly still holds up in a lot of areas. There's definitely some scenes that haven't aged as well as others, but there's others that are honestly still just as beautiful as the day I saw it in theaters. I also personally just love how this movie isn't trying to set up a sequel. It's true they had another one in mind, but nothing in this movie is directly shouting, go see another one. It's rumored that they had plans to make the Doctor turn into the Lizard and possibly have this small remaining symbiote turn into Carnage, but the movie didn't end on that note. The ending honestly just ended on a rather bittersweet note, a mixture of good and bad. It wasn't begging for a sequel. That's bold. Then good, and helps it withstand the test of time a lot better than, say, The Amazing Spider-Man 2? And lastly, I want to point out a small scene that nobody ever seems to talk about. Unless it's to make fun of his line where he says, "Fix this damn door!" But think about it. What happens directly after that?
He is a good boy. He must be in some kind of trouble.
Throughout the entire last movie and so far in this one, we've been given every reason to hate this character. He's rude, he's unusually cruel, and he's just unlikable in every way. But this scene goes out of its way to show that even people that aren't great aren't terrible either. The whole purpose of this movie was to show that all good guys have some bad in them, but more importantly, all bad guys have some good in them too. Even when it's hard to see. Or even when you don't see it at all because you slammed the door in their face too soon. I know it's just a small little scene, but it's honestly one of my favorite in the entire movie. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. It's a great little moment, and I think it shows us a lot more than people are realizing. And I think if the overall movie had been a bit better, people would have appreciated this scene a lot more. But it gets ignored because the movie surrounding it isn't so great. Well, that was my nitpicks of this movie, finding the little bits of good in something bad. And in the future, I'll find little bits of bad in things that are good too. Showing that no matter how good or bad something is, there's always something to love or hate in it. I'm Simon from SimonsRants, and that was my rant for today.